I'm someone who tries to be successful in focusing on my schoolwork and just trying to achieve the highest GPA that I can by really focusing on my work and making that a priority in my school day.
How have you learned to be successful in that area?
I usually learn to be successful in that area by making time for my schoolwork. I've learned that you have to be self-disciplined and you can't just let yourself do too much free stuff because then you won't make enough time for school and focusing on that.
Hi, Justice. In what area or areas do you feel like you've been successful?
I feel like I've been successful in like taking charge and like being a leader, and just seeing people like Brianna and Armani just like stepping up to the plate. That kind of inspired me to do the same, and that's where I'm at right now.
Very good. How did you go about that? Like, what were some of the steps you took? Like, what's one example?
Well, you have to put yourself out there. Like if nobody like you have to like make connections with people and like take that extra step because it'll really help you in the long term.
That's good. Okay, Justice, do you have any area of weakness you feel like you've had to work on?
Yes, it's my temper. It's like you guys don't see it, of course, but like it's bad, and I'm trying to work on it by like taking myself out the situation, to keep my temper from like, you know.
Yeah. So when you take yourself out of the situation, what do you do? What do you do in your brain, in your body? Like deep breaths? Like what do you think about?
Well, I try to take myself out the situation, like just think about like the important parts of like why are you getting mad? And usually when I start thinking about that, it's not a reason for me to actually get mad. I'm just going with my, instinct, and that's just okay, they trying to get like degrade you or.
Yeah.
But that's never the reason sometimes. So
Oh, that's really okay. Zoe, is there an area that you feel like you've had a weakness you've had to overcome?
Yes, I'm always really hard on myself. Ever since I was little, I've always just felt like I need to be the absolute best I can, which is really good for me. I've just always kind of put myself down sometimes just because I feel like I'm not doing as good as I could do. But I've learned and I've grown and I'm getting a lot better at it.
So this may be hard to answer, but can you say what you've done to not be quite so hard on yourself?
I always take a step back and look at the situation as a whole and just say, you're not the only person in the situation and everyone else feels the same way too. The pressure's not always on you.
Okay, Jake, what is an area that you feel like you've been weak in and that you've had to work on?
I'd say some of my biggest weaknesses are studying at home and probably just doing assignments at home just because I don't pay attention to it for very long. So the way I try to work on that is I try to do a little bit at a time and do like a 5-minute break in between, maybe watch a YouTube video, get on Instagram, and I just switch back so I don't get bored.
Karis, what's an area you feel like you've had some weaknesses that you've learned to overcome?
My focus and balance. Sometimes you really don't feel like doing the work. And then the balance, I'm a student athlete, so there's some nights where I'm tired and I have to choose between getting enough hours of sleep or studying for a test or a quiz for the next day. And I just have coping skills. I mean, you have to remember where you want to be in life, so you have to do what you have to do to get where you want to be.
Very good. And Lily, how do your daily choices impact your life?
So your daily choices are obviously very important for your life because it's going to create a habit and you want to make good habits. And so if you choose to, go to sleep late every night or wake up late, it's going to create a habit. But if you choose to make a good habit and you choose good daily choices every day, it's going to make a more proactive result in your schoolwork.
Okay, Justice. So what is a daily choice you're making that is already making your life better?
Well, you know, I try to like text people and like make sure they're not forgotten because, you know, some people are quarantined, so you don't want to make it feel like that, you know, nobody is checking up on me, so I'm just forgotten. Yeah, you don't want anybody to feel like that. So if you have anybody that's quarantined, you know, just text them, make sure you show them that they're not forgotten and you can't wait for them to come back to school. That's one important reason.
Okay, so what are some of the things you do daily that help you become successful?
Well, I think the most important thing daily is to be happy, and for me, that's making time to spend with the ones I care about and the ones I love, but also to give me time so that I can self-reflect and just kind of be by myself, and that has really helped me grow as a person. It's a very healthy balance that I think everyone should do.
Okay. Okay, Karis, what are some of the daily things that you do that are making your life better in the long run?
Having patience and understanding with others. Not everyone will ever have the same opinion as you, but you can't really be hateful about it. You have to be understanding because everyone's obligated to have their own opinions as long as they're respectful with it.
That's great. So you feel like every day that you're learning to be more patient and understanding, what's that going to do for your life in the long run?
It makes me a lot more strong-minded and a lot more respectful for others and myself.
Very good. Lily, how do you handle difficulty?
So one way that I handle difficulty is to write it all out on paper, because I found that if you can see it all at once and not just have it all in your brain, then it's much easier to see and get organized, whether it's with schoolwork or with COVID or something. Just writing it all out helps you see it clearly and know how to deal with the difficulty.
Zoe, we all go through difficult things. What are some of the difficult things? How do you handle the difficult things you go through?
Well, about 2 years ago, my dad passed away, and that was one of the hardest things that I've been through and am still going through still. But I always just try to surround myself with the ones I love, because they always just make you feel better about yourself, and just talking to them and putting your trust in them and others, it just helps a lot. And also I always pray about it and write down, because again, that self-reflection is really important.
Jake, how do you handle difficult situations?
Well, I'd say I'm a firm believer in just getting it out. Whether you want advice or if you just want to talk about it, it just helps so much to get it off your chest, whether it be talking to friends, family, prayer, or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it takes, just get it out there, someone who will listen to you. Even if they don't really understand, it just feels good to get it off your chest and less compact.
This year I really learned what coping skills are for, as far as I read books, I walk, I run, I play sports, and that's really what I do. Sometimes I even color, because sometimes you have to take your mind off of things, and social media is a big thing, you know. Oh my gosh.
Social media good or social media bad?
It's not always good for you.
Okay.
It affects your mindset heavily.
So you take some breaks?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Dylan, last question. How do you handle difficult situations?
How I handle difficult situations is by just simply working hard, and I don't avoid the obstacle. If there's however long it takes to get through a situation, whether it's hard, whether it's easy, I take that and I work as hard as I can to get through that. And I have that mentality of never losing. I hate losing, and so when anything comes difficult around, I just keep pushing, and I do it until it's satisfying for me.